G'day, welcome to another episode of Country Life on the Coast. My name is Sean, and on today's episode we're going to try out my, new to me, Hafco thicknesser. So this is Heron Forbes or Hafco, their T13A thicknesser. I picked this up second hand. It came up on Facebook Marketplace for a couple of $100. I went and had a look at it. It was in pretty good condition. It all seems to work. So I grabbed it, thought I'm going to try it out. Now, I've had a look online and they don't make the T13A anymore, or they don't sell it new. It's now a T13B. When I have a look at all the specifications, it all looks quite similar to this. This one has two blades. It came with a couple of spare blades as well, so we'll replace those if we need to. So these are sort of the next step up from DIY. These are meant to be, I believe, semi-industrial sort of, so they're meant to be well built. It's quite heavy to lift, so that's probably a good sign. So with the thicknesser, we can adjust the height. So this comes with the tools. You use those for adjusting, for changing the blades, removing the side panels, any other maintenance that's required. I do like it has what looks like quite a large outfeed for where all the sawdust is going to go. So hopefully that won't get clogged. We'll test that out again soon. But I've got some timber here. These are old fence palings. It's all hardwood timber. It's probably 30 years old. So we are going to see how this goes by cleaning all this up. So we'll get some power connected and grab my earmuffs and safety glasses and we'll run these through. So there we go, we've cleaned up these boards and I've got to say the timber has come up really nice. We didn't get it all down the same thickness, so at some ends it's still a bit, hasn't been touched yet, but these boards that have, they'll come up really nice. Now I do think a new set of blades on it, or maybe I can flip the blades over depending on how they look, would probably help the finish a little bit. It is a little bit rough. Some of them are actually quite smooth. Some are a little bit rough. Like I said before, it's all hardwood timber and really quite old as well. So it's a solid test for the machine. But overall, I think it's done a great job. I'm really happy with it. Now, a couple of things that I did notice that not being a big problem, but just something to be aware of, just something that I found with these. I'm not sure if the newer model has the same idea, but the tools clip on up the top here, and as I was using it, they were really shaking around in regards to they weren't actually clipped in and holding there. So I removed them because you obviously don't want them going down the side and hitting the blades or anything. So they're good, but there's a place to hold them so you don't lose them or it's being stored, all that sort of thing. But when you're using it, they don't stay there. Now, like I said, maybe the new ones have fixed that, or there doesn't appear anything broken on mine. I'm not sure, but that was one thing I found. The other thing that I found, so one thing I did notice is there's a little gauge here. So as you feed your timber in, it'll tell you how much it's going to take off. Now, here in Australia, we do have millimeters here, which is really handy, but I found that very difficult to read. I need to wear my glasses, but yeah, I just found that difficult to read. I'd rather see it on this side where it's slightly bigger. Just a minor thing, not a major thing, but yeah, it's good to have that as a guide to see how much it's actually taking off. The manual, I believe, says you can take up to 3 millimeters now off in one pass. That will be soft timber, pine, that sort of thing, because there's no in the world I think this would take hardwood. The other thing I do like is that it's got this gauge here, so you can monitor it in regards to, you know, getting everything to exactly the same thickness. And I found that quite easy to see as well. It does sit off a little way, so there could be a slight bit of error depending on how you're looking through it, whether you're looking slightly down or up, or but yeah, a couple of minor things. The other thing you may have noticed is as it was working, it was slowly vibrating and walking its way along the bench. Easy enough just to control by holding it here, you know, holding it with these two bars here, but it's not really something you want. So I might have to look at when I use it next time, fixing it down properly. I'm not sure, but something that I need to consider. One of the things I really did like about it, and it seemed to work really well, was how the dust extraction worked on it. It seems to be really big, and it just shoots a huge amount of sawdust down there. Wasn't sure whether it would get clogged or anything, because having no shop vac or anything on here to help draw it out, but no, it just went straight out quite easily. There was minimal sawdust coming out the front, and from my experience, it just seems to not clog up as much if it's going out the chute as opposed to coming back here. Now, someone might ask about snipe, which is just taking out a bit at the ends. And from these boards that I've done, it didn't do that at all, which, to be honest, surprised me a little bit. I think from my experience with using this and using other thicknesses, it's really hard to eliminate it completely. One of the things that would help is to have, you know, a bench here all at the same height so it's feeding in, because that's really what creates it, is as you're feeding in, if your timber's not level, it can take a bit more out, that sort of thing. But like I said, these boards here, they look quite good. The only real way I believe to avoid it is have slightly longer boards as you run it through, and then cut the end off. Then you just don't have to worry about it at all. Sometimes that's not possible, I understand, but for this, it's worked quite well. Well, there we go, that's our first use of it. I think in the next episode we'll do some maintenance. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this sort of content, please consider subscribing. That would be fantastic, and we'll catch you on the next one. God bless.